Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill on a Monday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill. Casey Gaines and Danny Cardenas back there on the ones and twos. New time for us each and every day, 1 to 3. Hanny time premiered today. We'll have him from noon to 1 every day except Mondays when we have the Brian Kelly press conference like we did today. And we'll come on right after that from 1 to 3. Matt Moscona after further review still locked in 3 to 6. And Jimmy Ott's game time from 6 to 8. So a little bit of a schedule change this week as we announced back on Friday. But we are fired up to get ready to roll this week. Look, I'm fired up. I'm really, really excited. I think you could listen to my season prediction where I said I think this team is short on pros, and I don't know that there's as much talent there usually is. I picked LSU to go 7-5, and all that I believe to be true. Personally, it does not, however, diminish my excitement level to get into the Superdome on Sunday at all. I am super, super fired up to watch those gold helmets and white jerseys come out of that tunnel in the Superdome to strike up the band and play some football. We have finally made it to game week, and I could not be more excited about that. So we're going to talk about Brian Kelly's press conference that he had just about an hour ago, go through some of the things that he said, some things he did not say. So we'll talk through that, and we'll also look back at the weekend that was. I have some thoughts on Florida State and Duquesne of what I watched there. It was a pretty boring football game. Florida State ran it on just about every play. It was pouring down rain, and they beat them by 1 million, as we suspected after a long lightning delay. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Saints preseason game back on Friday. Got some thoughts on that as they've cutting down the roster to 53, and their preseason games are in the rearview mirror, so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Some quarterbacks have been named throughout the Southeastern Conference, over in College Station, over in Auburn. We'll talk a little bit about that, but where there was not a quarterback named was here in Baton Rouge. As Brian Kelly met with the media, the second question he took today was about the quarterback competition and whether or not he had made a decision. He said last week that entering this week, he would make a decision on Sunday or Monday. And so we kind of thought, okay, well, he'll announce that today. And he said, we do know, he said a little bit later that he'd made the decision about 48 hours ago, and that he believes it's a tactical advantage not to announce that starting quarterback. So they're not going to say it. Now, this directly contradicts what I've been telling you for 6 weeks now. Because when I hosted that event for the Alumni Association in Tiger Stadium, he was taking questions from the crowd and said he did not find it to be a tactical advantage. At least that's what I heard. Maybe I misheard, but that's what I remember him saying. I don't have any problem with it personally. If you were just listening to Charlie's show, he kind of ran through what preparing for LSU entails. And because it's a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, a couple of quarterbacks who are not returning starters at LSU, one that transferred in, the other that just basically played one game, with a whole new remade offensive line, running back that's transferred in. Like, there are so many moving pieces with LSU. Preparing for LSU is going to be a lot. And because Florida State's had all summer to do it, they have no doubt watched all of Jaden Daniels' film. They have no doubt gone back and watched Cincinnati's offense under Mike Denbrock run last year. They have no doubt looked at the Arkansas game where Garrett Nussmeier played the lion's share of the game last year. I don't think you necessarily alter Florida State's preparation at all if you pick a quarterback today. But if Brian Kelly feels like Notre Dame has a little bit of an advantage, not Notre Dame, Florida State has a bit of an advantage because they played a game in week 0, and he thinks it's a little bit of his advantage to not reveal his quarterback, fine. I don't have a huge problem with it. Again, if this was Russell Shepard's skill set versus Zach Mettenberger's skill set, and you wanted to hold that, I'd get it. That's a totally different ballgame. Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier aren't that different. If I was asking them to throw the football as far as they could, Garrett Nussmeier would probably throw it a little bit further. If I asked them to run a 40-yard dash, Jaden Daniels probably run it a little bit faster, but they're both good athletes. They both have plenty of arm. I think the skill sets are pretty similar. The offense is going to look very similar. Now, what that is exactly, we don't know because, again, there's a lot of moving parts. But Brian Kelly did not feel it was necessary for him to name a starting quarterback. I think that probably disappoints some people who were just ready for the answer. I don't necessarily care. I think it's a little bit Mickey Mouse-ish of Oregon State in Omaha back in 2017 to change your starting pitcher 20 minutes before first pitch. That's Mickey Mouse. This is just normal stuff with a quarterback competition. I don't think it's super. I don't think it's Bush League. I don't think it's some sort of frowned upon gamesmanship. I don't think any of that applies. I think it's just, we'll let you know when we break the huddle, and I think that's just fine. So I was going through and kind of looking at my notes from the press conference. And again, it wasn't it wasn't one that was chocked full with information. I did want to know an update about Malik Neighbors, and Brian Kelly did update us on Malik Neighbors. Said he sprained his ankle. He's been held out, but and I use quotes here. He should be good, meaning for the game on Sunday. He has been held out. He's doing some rest and recuperation. The team is not practicing today. They're treating today like a Sunday. When I was told, I was looking to set some stuff up for the pregame show and kind of figuring out when I could get up there to get some interviews, and said, yeah, they're off on Monday. I was like, they're off on Monday of a game week? And then I thought about it, and everything is backed up a day because we play on Sunday, obviously. So the team is off today. Malik won't be doing anything significant today, just a little bit of rehab. He should be able to help with some walkthrough stuff in the middle of the week, and then I think when they put the pads on middle of the week, he should be good to go. And I don't think there's any issue with him playing in the game on Sunday. So that's a guy that LSU needs to have out there. Quite simply, he is as explosive a playmaker as they have probably outside of Kayshon Boutte. So I have continued to sing his praises time and time and time and time again. There's a reason for that. He's a stud, and LSU needs to have him out there. So that's good news that he should be returning to the field this week and should be on the field on Sunday. As far as the offensive line goes, this is another note that I've got. It looks like they're pretty locked in there. He said the linchpin of this entire thing from an offensive line perspective is going to be the center spot. And once they got Garrett Dellinger cemented in there at center, they started to work things around. We knew Will Campbell was going to be out there at left tackle, and then we had issues with who were going to be the guards and who was going to be the right tackle. You figured Anthony Bradford was going to land on one of the spots on the right side, whether that was going to be tackle or whether they were going to move him inside to guard. It appears now they're going to move him inside to guard. He's a big dude. If you asked me if he was too big, I might say yes. I'm not a professional scout. There's a lot of offensive linemen that play with a lot of weight, but he's a big dude, and having him out there on the edge with some rushers, gave me a little bit of concern. But it looks like they're going to move him inside, and Cam Wire, who obviously played a lot of left tackle last year, he's going to be your right tackle. Wire's a little bit more athletic, I think. Look, I've had some discussions with some people about Anthony Bradford. They said, man, this guy is really, really good. Just a few pounds overweight. Just a little bit slow. And look, I hadn't been out there to see him. The one time I went out last week, it was raining and the offense was inside. And so I haven't seen Anthony Bradford in 3 weeks. But I think the guard spot probably fits him a little bit better. They are going to put Miles Frazier at the left guard spot that we thought might have been Tremont Shorts. Weren't really sure where they were going to go there, but it looks like from left to right on the offensive line, you're going to have Will Campbell, you're going to have Miles Frazier, Garrett Dellinger at center, then at right guard, Anthony Bradford, and then at right tackle, Cameron Wire. So they've had a lot of time to look through this, to work guys out. And the good news this year is that, one, Brad Davis had enough time to get himself settled and work. He didn't come in here flying in August, the latest hire ever, and then get tossed into camp. He had some time to set up a plan and understand how he wanted to evaluate his unit. And then everybody stayed pretty healthy for camp, so you got to look at it. Last year, they could not keep 5 guys on the practice field. Every single day somebody else got hurt. Then you come back, well, this guy's back, but he's in a no-contact jersey, going through. He's actually had a chance to evaluate his offensive line this year and come to the conclusion that this is the best group. It sounds like there's going to be some rotation in there. But that's the way that it should start. So that was really, I thought, the 3 most impactful things from the press conference. The last thing I do want to touch on here is the neutral site deal. Brian Kelly was asked what he thinks about these neutral site openers, and he said it makes a lot of sense to go to New Orleans. Going somewhere else, And I've gone back and forth on this. Look, I love a Saturday night game in Death Valley, and ideally you'd rather Wisconsin come here and Florida State come here. And, yeah, I think that is better in the grand scheme of things. Because does playing Florida State in Orlando do a lot for me? Not really. Wisconsin in Houston doesn't do much of anything for me either. Now, Lambeau Field's cool. That's a cool thing that LSU got to experience. Unfortunately, it didn't go very well. But that was a cool thing to have happen. Would I rather play it in Camp Randall or Lambeau? Honestly, probably Lambeau. I mean, I'd like to see the jump around thing at Camp Randall, and I've heard Madison's unbelievable, and I would like to see that. Lambeau Field's Lambeau Field. Like, I would rather that is more attractive to me. But yeah, I would rather it be in Tiger Stadium, but the Superdome does make sense. You keep a lot of people happy in New Orleans, which is just the heartbeat of the state. We know. But it sounds like to me he will look at these things, and if he sees some sort of significant advantage to it, he'll do it. I don't know that you're going to see LSU playing a lot of games in Atlanta or Orlando while Brian Kelly is calling the shots here. I think you're more likely to see New Orleans and Tiger Stadium. That's kind of what it sounded like. So we'll get let's just crank up the Citizens Bank poll question of the day right now. Do you like these neutral site openers? Yes or no? That's as simple as we can make that. We'll throw it up on Twitter at 1045 ESPN and make that happen. Our opening hour each and every Monday brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. Look, tailgating season is upon us. If you want to put together a tailgate platter of awesome barbecue from The Shed, you can make that happen. Call in advance, give them a couple of days, and they can get your tailgate pack ready. You can pick it up on Saturday, either take it back to your house or take it right to your tailgate. The Shed has got awesome food right there on Burbank. Between campus and Traction on Burbank is The Shed. If you've been familiar with The Shed from your times driving to the beach or driving east on I-10 in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, it is here in Baton Rouge now, and they bring you the opening hour each and every Monday here on Hunt and Hill. When we come back, I'll give you some more thoughts on the Florida State Seminoles based on what I saw last week, plus some comments from Mike Norvell in his press conference today. Don't go anywhere. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal, and because of that, they are elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana each and every month here on Hunt and Hill. This month, we've been telling you about Galen Iverstein, the owner of Iverstein Farms Butcher. He's been celebrated all month long here. He operates a full-service butcher shop and smokehouse in Baton Rouge. He's the owner of Iverstein Farms Butcher. Brings sustainable, locally raised meats directly to Louisiana consumers. They recently relocated the butcher shop to a larger location. That's allowed Galen the opportunity to expand his mission in new ways and introduce some more people to the importance of local and sustainable food. They got great meats over there at Iverstein Farms Butcher. We know that. If you've been over there, you're well aware. What you might not know just from going in there is just how great Galen is for our state in terms of what he does for the environment with the sustainable farming and what he does to our economy running this great operation he's got in Baton Rouge. And that's why LWCC thought it was important to elevate and celebrate Galen all month long. If you know a nonprofit or a person or a business that's doing awesome stuff in our great state that should be celebrated, go to lwcc.com/Louisiana Loyal, and you can nominate someone to be a champion of Louisiana right there so we can tell their story right here on Hunt and Hill. Galen Iverstein, this month's champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7, The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Monday evening edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're live at Rouge Creole in Perkins Row, recapping all of the college and NFL action from the weekend on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Opening hour every single Monday brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. Get you fed from The Shed. I'll tell you who wins this week's Lunch for the Office coming up at the end of this hour. Florida State got their season off to a start a little bit late. It was early, being that it's week 0, but a little bit late in terms of the time of the game. They had a lightning delay over there in Tallahassee. Who could imagine? Raining on the Gulf Coast in August. Tried to play golf yesterday. 12 holes, rain. 45 minutes, torrential. Can't get away from it down here. But they did get underway, and they did beat Duquesne 47-7. They got out to a 20-0 lead in the first quarter and never really took their foot off the gas. Look, it was a sloppy game. It was muddy. There was rain. It was not very aesthetically pleasing to watch on television, quite frankly. But I'm trying to watch it and draw something from it. And, if you're an LSU fan and you're watching the game, you're just trying to nitpick every single little thing you can find. Oh, this guy, if he can't do it against Duquesne, he's going to get crushed against LSU. And you're just trained to watch it that way. So I was trying to be as objective as I could watching the Duquesne Dukes play football. So here were my overriding thoughts from watching Florida State. One, I thought Jordan Travis played very well. I thought he looked under control, composed. He's athletic. He did what he needed to do out there in the rain, piloting the offense. He was 11 of 15 on the day, 207 yards. Didn't really put the ball in harm's way. Took a couple of shots. I mean, I thought he looked comfortable, confident, like the veteran quarterback you would imagine that he would be. However, it was very obvious that Florida State was out there to just run the football and get out of Dodge, and that's what they did. They had 3 backs go over 100 yards. Trayshawn Ward had 126. Trey Benson, who's a load, had 105, and Jordan Toafil had 101 on the day. All 3 of those guys scored at least 1 touchdown. But I will say this. While those running backs ran hard, they were physical, they broke a ton of tackles, I thought their offensive line did not play very well. I thought Duquesne was in the backfield a significant amount. And you'll see some, if you looked at some of the highlights, you watch these Florida State runs where they break like 4 tackles, and that looks great, and it's a physical runner, and it's tough to get him down, especially you're dealing with a lower level of competition there. But that is one of those, while I look at it and I go, yeah, if that's Jaquelin Roy, it's probably a little different outcome. And again, I was trying to guard against that, but it wasn't like one time. I thought it was a lot of the first half. Duquesne got some penetration. They just couldn't tackle because they're not any good. But that was something that I thought was potentially an issue entering the season, is Florida State's offensive line. And it kind of showed up that way when you watched the game. Now, statistically, again, it looks great for Florida State running the football and how the offensive line played. You just look at a game and you see that Florida State ran for 406 yards and 7.5 yards per carry. You're like, well, they obviously were playing great up front. I don't know that I necessarily quite saw it that way. And that was my hope, because I feel like LSU's got a real chance to make some hay with their defensive front against Florida State. Now, Florida State is going to look a little bit different with their offensive line on Sunday. You're likely going to get Maurice Smith back, who is going to play center for him, and that helps to have your starting center in there when you're playing with basically a third-team center, which is what they did on Saturday. But still, I just didn't think they played great football. I don't know how much you got a chance to watch the Noles, Mr. Hill.
Yes.
But I thought Travis looked good. I thought their defense looked fast on a soggy track, and I did not think their offensive line looked awesome.
Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed with their offensive line, is that they were giving up penetration to a team when you're looking at that Duquesne team. They look fairly similar to probably what a Division 3 or 2 team would look like. Their skill position players, their linemen, they just were outmatched by Florida State. But even with that being said, I love the penetration I saw, that they got on that Florida State line. Just looking at that Florida State offense, I think their running backs are smaller, shiftier guys. So going to have to bring your pads and get those guys on the ground. But to say they were playing Duquesne, it wasn't like I was just totally, absolutely blown away by what I saw from the offensive side.
I mean, there's not going to be I don't mean to emphasize this too much. I mean, it's a talking segment. We're going to preview this game for 5 days, so we're sticking our toe in the water here. And I understand they're playing Duquesne in the rain. Like, I'm not trying to draw sweeping conclusions about everything. It's just something that I think I noticed. I also noticed their receivers are huge. Mm-hmm. And LSU has big corners. I mean, Jark Bernard-Converse is a big dude. Mekhi Gardner's huge. Mm-hmm. The nickel guys, whether it's Brooks or Sage Ryan, those guys are smaller. But LSU does have some size. Jay Ward's not a short guy. Mm-hmm. So I wonder how you think that matchup is going to look when you've got a 6'7" guy out on the edge of Florida State's got, and they got some real size at wide receiver.
Yeah, no, I think if you're LSU, you feel great about what you have at cornerback. I think even you put Colby Richardson in that group. He's a guy that's over 6 foot. So you feel like, especially the guys on the outside, you got over 6 foot corners that should be able to match up with those guys. And you pair that with the defensive line rushing the quarterback. I don't think you're going to be blown away by the matchups if you're LSU's defense.
Brian Kelly today took to the press conference, said, look, as far as him and his familiarity with Notre Dame because they opened with Florida State because they opened with them last year in an overtime game, he didn't think it was that big a deal. Obviously, he's got 2 new coordinators. But do you think his familiarity with maybe some of the personnel or what Mike Norvell wants to do gives LSU any sort of advantage entering this game?
I think advantage maybe
I guess
when
you contradict with the fact that LSU is just an entirely new cast of characters. I mean, it's all a new coordinator, new coach, new everything, new players.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I would say if there was some sort of advantage, it's a little bit. I wouldn't say it's a world of difference because he plays them and he's familiar with them. I think you're looking at an LSU defense. It was night and day from what he had at Notre Dame, and obviously the offense and the skill position is just totally different. So it's different matchups, different offenses. But I do think, anytime you do have familiarity with the coach and how they call games and how they play and what they may dial up on in big-time situations, I think it definitely gives you some sort of advantage, but I don't think it's the end-all be-all.
No, I don't either. I think we're just grasping at straws. I think, as far as the tune-up game, I think we're now all programmed because of what happened last year to immediately jump in and say, oh my God, huge advantage. UCLA got to play Hawaii, came out and beat us the next day. Florida State next week. Florida State played Duquesne. LSU didn't have that game. Like, I'm not ready to totally say it's massive advantage Florida State, huge disadvantage to LSU. Florida State got a chance to play, LSU didn't. And then this whole deal where last year LSU had a new offensive coordinator and Jake Pete's a new defensive coordinator. That was going to be something that UCLA hadn't had a chance to prepare for, or there's nothing on film for them to watch. Like, I think there's some sort of advantage to that too. It doesn't 100% swing one way just because UCLA showed up and punched LSU in the mouth last year. Like, there are advantages to both sides, I think.
No, I totally agree with that. And I saw some stuff, like, especially, looking at the highlights of some of the Florida State Duquesne highlights, and a lot of their fans are saying, hey, it doesn't matter. We didn't even show our good plays against them. So it's a ton of different ways you can look at this thing. But I think for me, like I said before on the show, if I'm a player and if I'm a coach, I don't mind having that warm-up game, especially if you're going against a team like Duquesne. You get to go out there and play against somebody else, work on some stuff, work on open field tackling against the team. Whether if you're LSU, you're going to be going out there live bullets against a Power 5 school. So I think for Florida State, I don't think they're scoffing at the idea that they got to play a game first before they play LSU.
Yeah, I don't either. Get Jeremy's thoughts on what Brian Kelly had to say at the podium coming up next on Hunt and Hill.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
Revelry Sports and Entertainment. Revelry tailgating, turnkey luxury tailgating. It is all Revelry. We're there. I mean, we're at game week now. LSU will be at Florida State. Southern coming in the next week. If you're late to the party here and want to get your tailgate set up, let Revelry do it all for you.
Yeah, head over to RevelryTeam.com. They have full-service turnkey tailgating, and it starts with their standard package. That's 25 to 30 people in capacity, a 10-by-20 high-peak tent. They have 3 coolers with all-day ice service. They hook you up with electricity hookups, all-day concierge. They even do post-tailgate cleanup.
Go to the website, RevelryTeam.com. You can see the location where they set up right outside Patrick F. Taylor Hall, about 3 blocks from Tiger Stadium. You can see what the tents look like. They've got the items that they can provide for you. They've got the premium package. They've got the standard package. They've got the schedule, the availability. All that's right there on the website. So if you're interested in learning more, go to RevelryTeam.com. Revelry Sports and Entertainment. Go to RevelryTeam.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office.
On Tuesday, off the bench. One day closer to game day. We'll talk a little LSU FSU with the Florida State man himself, Bud Elliott, plus brand new OTB mailbag. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Opening hour brought to you by The Shed Barbecue. Still looking for lunch? Swing on by The Shed. They can get you in and out real quick with that delicious barbecue over there on Burbank. Looking to watch a game this weekend. Shed's an awesome spot to do that as well. Hunt and Hill, 1 to 3 every single day here. Our first day in our new time slot, leading up to after further review. I was looking through my notes from the Brian Kelly press conference and some of the things he talked about. One, he laid out the week as they're going to practice now. It's his first game week here in Baton Rouge. All these will be off by a day this week because it's a Sunday game instead of Saturday, but this will be generally what they do moving forward. Monday is going to be called Mental Monday. It doesn't look like they're going to put pads on Mondays. They're going to just go through some walkthrough stuff, some corrections, and kind of get your legs back under you after a tough game on Saturday. They're going to have Attitude Tuesday. It's going to be the most physical day of practice that they have. They're going to put the pads on. It's going to be a more contact-driven practice on Tuesdays. We're going to have Gritty Wednesdays, which will be their longest practice of the day of the week, he said. And they'll have Perfect Thursday. That'll be without pads on. They'll put helmets on and maybe shoulder pads, but they'll do some situational stuff, some third down stuff, some red zone stuff, and it'll be about an hour practice on Thursday. And then Focus Friday will be a walkthrough. They'll look at their play scripts, kind of go through some substitutions and whatnot. So looks like really only Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be your days where they're doing anything with pads. I'm seeing you shaking your head over there. It sounds like a guy that played for Les Miles to me.
Yeah, definitely a guy that played for Les Miles. This is like a foreign language for me for LSU football, but it's amazing. It sounds extremely similar to what an NFL week looks like. You're only putting pads on twice. The other days you're learning and you're walking through stuff. So I think for Coach Kelly not to come in here trying to pull his big stick out and slam it down on the players and make sure these guys are overworked. I think that's the last approach you want to be doing. You want to take care of these players. You want to be up and running at the latter half of the season. The only way you do that is you treat this thing like a marathon. So it's always refreshing to me to see coaches not put full pads on Monday through Thursday.
Do you think that had a negative effect on your teams in Baton Rouge?
I just think it was different times back then, different things, especially in the landscape of college football. I think so many more teams are just running downhill things, and you were just so many more people in the box, just totally different game. And then obviously with the 2-a-days and everything added to it, I just think that's what people expected when you signed up for football. So I think right now, if you would have tried to implement something like that next year, then I could see some waves being made with people, not being down for that. But I think back then with what we knew then, I think that's just what we knew.
What are your thoughts on him not announcing a starting quarterback prior to the game? They're just going to break the huddle and it'll be who it is.
Look, man, I said that when we first talked about it and asked about it. I'm like, man, I don't see them just announcing it early on and letting everyone know. I think they'll wait to the burning dawn. It's looking like we're getting close to that. I think maybe he'll announce it tomorrow, but like I said, that was my first thought. I thought they'd hold off and kind of have Florida State guessing as long as they could.
And that'll be what they do. I think everybody around here believes that Jaden Daniels will be the guy. They're just not not going to announce it. It doesn't appear. So if you missed that earlier, Brian Kelly said they have made a decision about 48 hours ago as of today. So that sounds like over the weekend at some point. They're just not going to make that information public. There's no more media access at practice, so they'll be behind closed doors the rest of the way, and we'll find out when they break the huddle in the Superdome what they're thinking about there. Anything else that Brian Kelly said today that kind of piqued your interest? I mentioned in the opening segment when we were talking about the offensive line, how that's kind of set up. They were talking about Malik Neighbors as well, as far as his where his health is concerned. The other thing that I mentioned too was he's talking about these neutral site games. I mean, are you pro neutral site games, or would you rather play them all on campus?
Look, I'm selfish. I want all those things to be in Tiger Stadium in Death Valley, especially if you're going to be the home team. You can't lose that extra home game. So, of course, I want that extra game in Death Valley. But I think it's cool to have those matchups. I think my freshman year we matched up against TCU, and the next year we didn't play anybody. So just going into the season, you had a lot more. I feel like on the line, a lot things were taken a little more seriously, especially walkthroughs in camp because you're getting ready for a big-time team that could embarrass you. But when you're playing the Duquesne and teams like that, it just kind of, a little stale going into it. But, yeah, I think for me, if I had to pick, I'd rather play in Tiger Stadium. But I also agree with some of the neutral site games.
The issue that LSU's run into now was not their fault in 2020 because it was an all-SEC schedule, and you came out and you lost game one. And then last year you had UCLA, and you came out and lost again. You started back-to-back seasons 0-1, and that just – man, it takes the wind out of your sails. Like losing that first game, you'd rather. I mean, well, it's if you know you're going to lose it, it's just more ideal to kind of ease in, get that first win against some interstate school, and have your backups playing the entire fourth quarter. But on the other hand, you come out and like the 2011 team did, and you take out Oregon. All of a sudden, you're flying high. Wind is very much in your sails. So it works both ways. You just bring a tough scenario into play when you put this game on the schedule.
Yeah, I think that's the trickiest thing with what we've kind of seen with this football program, especially the last two seasons, is that when I remember a time as a Tiger fan, you walked into those, Oregon games, and you walked into some of those TCU games, and you just felt like you're going to run them off the field, and there's nothing you could do about it. And I think now there's a little, question mark surrounding this program, and so it's going to be a big-time deal for the team to go out there and start the season off with a bang, because if they don't, like you said, we felt that taste the last two seasons. It kind of just leaves a sour taste over the season for the whole year, because obviously in Tiger Town there's still so many people that want you to win the SEC, want you to go win national titles. You lose that first game, it just takes the wind out of everyone's sails.
How fired up are you?
I'm excited. I'm super excited, man. Look, we've been talking about this week after week after week, day after day. Like, when's football season coming? Like, when is it? It's here. It's here. We get to see the Tigers trot out there Sunday. I'm super excited, man. I'm pumped. I can't wait to see this Coach Kelly era started.
It's just I led the show with that, and I think you could probably listen to my season preview or my record prediction and think, hey, he's ready to fast forward this thing. Could not be further from the truth. Like, I am so jacked up for football on Sunday. I cannot wait to get in the Dome. And I like this Sunday kickoff because it gives you all day Saturday to watch other games and not like have that nervous energy going because you don't have to play quite yet. So that's I mean, it's a nice little setup when you've got an off day, quote unquote, on Monday, which is not actually an off day because we will have all our shows. No one else will be here working, but the on air on ESPN will be rocking and rolling on Labor Day because we've got a game to have them react to. So I'll get off the air at midnight, and then you'll get off the air at 2, and then we'll be right back at it here from 1 to 3. There won't be a Brian Kelly press conference next Monday. It'll be Tuesday because of the holiday, but we'll be back here on Monday and fired up to talk about it. Brian Kelly was with the media earlier today. Matt will have all the sound coming up on AFR at 3 o'clock. A little bit too quick a window there for us to get the sounds. We just got to take notes and then regurgitate what it was that he said. So the Tigers are off today, which I thought was crazy. It's like, wait, they're off on the Monday of a game week, and then we're treating this like Sunday because everything's pushed back a day. So tomorrow will kind of be like their Monday. Brian Kelly was talking like in gymnastics, trying to tell you, well, we'll do this on Wednesday, which will actually be a Tuesday, It just kept climbing back with the date. But it's they'll get it all figured out, and they'll be ready to roll come game time on Sunday. And Mike Norvell was at the podium today talking to the reporters, and he said, "Yeah, it's LSU in the Superdome. Like, let's go. Like, they're glad that Duquesne's in the rearview mirror. They don't have to worry about that anymore, and they can move forward to LSU. So both teams rocking and rolling, headed towards game day on Sunday. We'll have a guest from Tallahassee coming up later in the week, and we'll talk a little bit about Florida State and where they are, especially from an injury perspective coming out of that one. I think they're going to get their quote-unquote starting center back. He was their backup, but their starter was out for the year, so they plugged him in, and he got hurt, and they were working on a third-team center last weekend. They'll be back to quote-unquote full strength. But we'll get some more updates from Tallahassee later on in the week. When we come back, I got some thoughts on Saturday, the non-Florida State stuff I watched, and it starts with game day. I guess it finishes with Ireland. We'll talk about all that to finish out hour number 1 next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
FanDuel wants you to be ready for game day when college football kicks off this week. Right now, new customers can get up to $150 in free bets guaranteed for week 1. Just place a $5 bet and you can get up to $150 in free bets if you win or lose.
If you're thinking about joining FanDuel, now is the perfect time to give it a shot. The app's easy to use. They're hooking you up with great odds. When you win, the best part, you get paid fast. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. With a promo code 1045ESPN, you can place a $5 bet, as Jeremy said. You can get $150 in free bets guaranteed to kick off the college football season. Use that promo code 1045ESPN. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues and non-withdrawable free bets. It expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
This week on dropbiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out neworleans.com and come visit New Orleans.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Vizzy, the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. It is game week. Everything Brian Kelly has to say, previewing Florida State, and we'll recap Saints Chargers. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Every Monday, we're getting you fed from the shed. They bring you the opening hour. They will also feed your office. If you just go to 1045ESPN.com and register, like Brett Robertson did. And Brett Robertson over there at Walker High has won this week. So lunch from the shed out there to the crew at Walker High. Look, you know the shed. If you've been by Ocean Springs, stopped on your way to the beach, had that unbelievable barbecue, it's here in Baton Rouge now. It's there on Burbank, about a few miles off campus there. And it's an awesome scene. If you're looking for somewhere to watch football this weekend, the shed is your spot. They've got so much outdoor seating. They got big TVs everywhere, inside and outside. They got the picnic tables. They got the bar. It's an awesome place to watch a game. And, of course, they've got that great food. My favorite spot my favorite thing to go to over there is the combo plate. You get 2 sides with your meat. You can get a jumbo plate as well. We've had the ribs. We've had the pulled pork. It is awesome. They also have their 16-hour smoked brisket. The sides are phenomenal. I absolutely love the sweet potato casserole. It's got some pecans in it. If you want a sandwich, they got your barbecue sandwiches as well. They got a kids menu as well if you want to bring the kiddos. So stop on by the shed for lunch, or on the weekend, you can grab a delicious drink and some awesome food over there and get fed from the shed like Brett Robertson at Walker High. He is our winner for this week. Did you watch Game Day on Saturday?
I've seen clips of it, and then I saw something of Desmond Howard picking Texas 8-4.
He did.
To win it all?
What? The Game Day, and I'm not like this announcer hates my team guy. I really don't have like strong feelings towards announcers very often. I'm watching the game more often than not. Look, Game Day was terrible on Saturday. They were remote. They had delays in their headset. They were talking over each other and had awkward pauses here and there. They had a graphic up that said Brian Harsin in hot water at Nebraska. And it was up there for like a minute and a half. Like some producer couldn't look at it and go, oh, no, it's supposed to say Auburn, and just pull the graphic down. It was there forever and ever and ever. And then you got Desmond at the end of the show. They were picking their Final Fours, and he just very clearly had no idea who he had picked in the Final Four. So we started talking about a team, and then they threw his graphic up there, and he was talking about a team that wasn't even in his Final Four. So then he just stopped, and they pulled off of him, and they went to Kirk and let him do his, and they went back to Desmond at the end, and he goes, hey, guys, can y'all put my graphic up? Like, Desmond, you couldn't have just written out the notes of who you picked in the Final Four. Like, we knew this segment was coming. It was a total disaster from like start to finish. Man. I love College Game Day. I love Reese Davis. I think Kirk Herbstreit does an awesome job. I think people were salty with him because of the whole last miles to Michigan thing, all that, whatever. I think they do really, really good job. It was terrible on Saturday. Just a bad show start to finish.
Yeah, I think Kirk's going to not get a little love either because I think he said the team quit last year or something.
Yeah,
so people felt like he's kind of pounded on the Tigers there a little bit. But, yeah, man, I think for me, anytime I think about college football, I think about starting your Saturdays with College Game Day. There's no other way to do it, especially if they're right here in Baton Rouge, right there on the parade grounds. You want to see Lee Corso put that Mike the Tiger hat on. And so it just brings nostalgia to everyone. Like, to me, my whole childhood, that's what I watch every Saturday morning going into College Game Day. So to see that, come to where it is now, we got Corso dropping F-bombs now. It's getting crazy a little bit. So hopefully, they can sustain it and bring it back, because if it's going to continue to come off the rails like this, I don't know how, happy and intrigued I'm going to be to tune into it.
Well, they'll be back on location on Saturday. They're going to Columbus for Ohio State and Notre Dame, and I think certainly the communication will be a lot better because they won't be in 100 different places. That brings you to the Lee Corso talk. If you got on Twitter, you saw it. If you watched the show, you saw it. He's had health problems over the last 5-8 years. He's 87 years old, and he loves it. It is his passion. It's what keeps him going, I think. I mean, I don't know Lee Corso, but he just wants to be very much a part of it, and it's a little bit tough to watch, and it really is. But I think the point here is, like, if you're getting upset about it, or if you're going to Twitter like, oh my God, Corso's just like, can't do this. They've got to pull the plug. Like, they can't let him do this anymore. Like, here's the deal. They're going to put Lee Corso on that set to put that headgear on until he can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not going to change. There's just not going to be anybody from ESPN that goes to Lee and's like, hey man, we're gonna go with Pollock and Desmond, and we'll, thanks for your service. They're just not going to do it. It's not going to happen. He's going to be on that show. They've really reduced his role over the years, and he's only in a couple of segments now. And he's trying, and I think he gets so excited because he's and then his mouth just and his brain they just don't catch up. It's a tough watch. It was a tough watch on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we all know Father Time is undefeated, and I think we all know what Corso's brought to the game of college football and just what he means. And to me, he's one of those, Mount Rushmore type guys when you think of college football, just everything he's done and all the Saturdays, all the college game days, all those big-time matchups, all those predictions. You only can help but cheer for the guy. But to see him, kind of going like this, it kind of reminds me very, Joe Pa-ish, Nick Saban-ish. You got to drag him out of there for them to finish. And so I think, like you said, I'm going to have to agree with you. I don't think he's going to stop. He's going to, be on that college game day set for perpetuity. You're going to have to, peel him out of there for him to retire and give up what he's doing.
Well, if they need somebody to join College Game Day, Scott Frost will be available very, very quickly. You figured he'd be in trouble if they lost the game. That'd be a big issue for him. Mm-hmm. It's even amplified when you can point to one head coaching decision that drastically altered the game. And for them to go up 11 points, they're running the football, they're taking control of they're the better team on the field in the second half, and to line up and kick that onside kick with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter and give the ball to Northwestern at the 45-yard line and immediately see them go right down the field and score and then beat you, it was just coaching malpractice. There was just no reason to try that in that spot when you were in control of the game. And again, they lose a close game because that's what they do in the Scott Frost era. And that buyout's going down by 50% at the end of the next month. And at some point, it's going to happen because this is how bad things are at Nebraska. The first question he got when he got to the podium for the press conference was not, do you feel pressure? Are you on the hot seat? The first question was, have you considered stepping down? Like quitting. That was the first question. And I'm usually on the side of the sports writer more often than not because there's a job to do there, and sometimes the questions don't sound great, but they need to be asked because you need to get the quote from somebody. That question did not need to be asked and was probably from somebody who was really upset about the loss. You can ask a guy, do you feel more pressure? You can't say, are you going to quit? That's not a good question.
Look, man, you saw that Nebraska pride show up in droves to Ireland. So anytime I'm a fan, look, I get upset. I go to a road game and we lose. I couldn't imagine going across the pond and watching your team
long flight home.
That's a long flight.
Stewardess, scotch, please.
Yes, that's a super, super long fight. So I think for all Nebraska fans, they were pumping that sunshine and rainbows. They got my boy Dakotas over there. We got cousin Trey. We got Mickey Joe over there. So they were feeling good about themselves. And I think to have that type of performance in the first game against a Northwestern team who I just don't think is very talented at all, I think they're probably going to win 6 or 7 games max this season. And so it's very, very, very devastating if you're a Nebraska fan, if you're anyone that's in that administration, if you're anyone involved with that school, because they've been so desperate to have a pulse in the past 20 seasons, 2 decades plus, and it's just not happening. We talked about it last week with Scott Frost and that, what his buyout looks like, and I think we both said after October, it's not going to be looking good for my man, Mr. Frost, and I think he just signed to deliver that with that first game performance.
Cousin Trey was the focal point for Nebraska early in that game. Trey Palmer out there was making catches, had a couple drops, but was making some plays out there. He's going to get a chance to play a lot. You realize how talented that LSU wide receiver room is when you see Trey Palmer out there making plays in a conference game in the opener, and he was, 5th, 4th on the depth chart here? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's an embarrassment of riches LSU's got at the wide receiver spot. So trouble in paradise for Scott Frost as he'll be looking for alternative employment if he wants it at some point here fairly soon. Thanks so much to the Shed Barbecue for bringing us the opening hour each and every Monday. If you're looking for a lunch spot, head on by the Shed on Burbank here in Baton Rouge. Delicious barbecue, great place to grab a drink and watch games as well. They're bringing the opening hour each and every Monday. That'll put a button on hour number 1. When we come back on the other side of Sports Center, we'll talk about some quarterback competitions that have been settled in the Southeastern Conference.
I am Juliet, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis, but I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I'm Christine Lisi. Washington Commanders running back Brian Robinson remains hospitalized after being shot twice yesterday in his lower body in an attempted carjacking or robbery attempt. Robinson posted on Instagram his surgery went well. The team has not ruled out his return this season. Live coverage of this day one of the U.S. Open continues on ESPN TV. Tennis's final major of the year is expected to be the final major for the legendary Serena Williams before she retires. The 23-time major Grand Slam champion faces Danka Kovinic in her opening round match tonight. There are 4 keys to how far Serena advances at the U.S. Open, according to ESPN tennis analyst John McEnroe.
Her serve, her movement, how well she uses the crowd, because the crowd's going to be amped up, and the nerves of her opponent. That's what it's all going to get. We're going to see if Serena can rise to the occasion. She's done it a million times before. God, I sort of expect that it's going to happen again, and she's going to make some type of run. I'd sure like to see it.
Coverage of Serena's opening match, 7 Eastern, ESPN TV. Dodgers righty Tony Gonsolin placed on the 15-day injured list with a right forearm strain.
Brought to you by Capital One Auto Navigator, where you can find a car, get pre-qualified instantly, and see your real monthly payment without impacting your credit score. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/Auto Navigator.
1, 2, 3. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour number 2 here on a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill. Matt Moscona coming at you at 3 o'clock with After Further Review. Jimmy Ott's game time from 6 to 8. Anytime. Debut today. He'll be noon to 1 every day, except on Mondays when Brian Kelly has that press conference. He will start up at 11 o'clock on Mondays to get ready for the Brian Kelly press conference. So first day of our new schedule, getting into the swing of things. Hunt and Hill 1 to 3 every single weekday here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Couple of SEC teams tabbed their starting quarterbacks for the season opener. There's a couple of SEC West teams. First in College Station, Texags and Billy Lucci reporting that Haynes King has won that job over Max Johnson, who, of course, was LSU's starting quarterback for last season. I don't know if you're surprised based on the information that we've had the last couple of weeks, but are you surprised if you can transport yourself back to July that Max did not win this job?
Look, man, I think, everyone kind of knows how I feel about Max. I was really, really high on him going into the season. I had big expectations. And you're just looking at his numbers from an outside glance, you figured he had a big-time season last year. But, for me, I just thought looking at that quarterback room, I just was not blown away by anyone in that room. And really, unless Haynes King just took some unworldly type leap from his gameplay from last year, I just don't. And none of those guys strike fear. And then I think you got a freshman quarterback in there. So it's like – I'm not. It's not striking. It's not giving me those Desmond Howard type vibes with A&M right now. I'm not feeling froggy about it. I'm not feeling bullish on the Aggies right now. So I'm not shocking at all that Max isn't the starter.
I am surprised. I thought Haynes King earned that job last year and had a turnover fest in his really one game of playing, and then got hurt in week 2 against Colorado, and then we know that Zach Calzada played the rest of the way. But I thought that with Max's skins on the wall, with what I saw in him, and I'm high on Max as well. I thought he did a good job at LSU when he was the starting quarterback here. I thought he would win that job. And so for me, for Haynes King to win the job, feels like, and look, I'm trying to be objective about this. We know how I feel about it, Texas A&M. Feels like he probably had a pretty good fall if he beat out Max, because we know what Max is. Very capable. He's not going to win the Heisman Trophy, but he can go out there and win you some SEC ball games. And for Haynes King to do it is pretty impressive. I'm curious to see just how much the quarterback run game benefits A&M this year, because all we hear about when you hear about Haynes King is just how fast he is. And when I think Jimbo Fisher, I think of a more traditional style of offense, a pocket passer. That's the way Jameis was. I mean, Kellen Mond was a good athlete, but I think of running the football, using the tight end, kind of an old school type of game. And Haynes King is more of an athlete who's going to run around and make some plays off schedule at times. So it's just not. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised based on what we heard 2 weeks ago, because it sounded like Haynes King had kind of led. But as of July, I would have really said that it was going to be Max Johnson's job. We had Barrett Salee on this show back at the end of spring, and he said, "Look, Haynes King's not going to be a factor here. This is This is Max Johnson's job. And look, it turned out not to be.
Yeah, and I think for me, if you're Jimbo and you're A&M, you've had your most success with the dual threat quarterback, and that's when they had Kellen Mond. Obviously, it was an all-SEC slate, and that was, to me, the best season they had, and that was with a quarterback who could pull it down and run it. So I think that's what Jimbo's possibly trying to get back to. We're giving the reins to Haynes King and letting him run the show. But, looking at him last year, I know he's didn't play much. 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 34 QBR. It's like – no, he was a freshman, but I'm just not – I'm going to have to see it, man. These kids have every opportunity each Saturday to go out there and prove themselves in front of the country. They go out there and play lights out and play their mind out, then I'll be the first one to give them credit, but I just haven't seen that enough from either one of those guys.
Speaking of Zach Calzada, who took over for Haynes King at A&M, he did not win the starting quarterback race over there on the plains of Auburn. Been announced that the starter for them going to be former LSU quarterback TJ Finley. Surprised that TJ won the job over Zach Calzada.
I'm wondering how, that administration, the NCAA is going to feel about starting a guy week 1 that just went joyriding a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I guess they're not doing anything about that. I guess it's kind of falling into the Elias Ricks conversation because haven't heard anything about him either. So I guess maybe it's an Alabama thing.
John Emery can't play. Emery's
God forbid a kid, does something last year. Yeah. These kids, the Alabama guys, let those guys just trot out there and play week 1. I haven't heard anything about it. So we'll see. But yeah, I think for me, that's same thing as Texas A&M quarterback room. Either one of those guys, they don't strike that much fear in me if I'm going against someone any given Saturday. So we'll see what Harsin does, man. I think all the spotlight's going to be on that program this year to definitely show some improvement from last year, and it's going to have his quarterback play do that. So we'll see what TJ can bring. I just don't think he's going to have that big time season like people may think in Auburn.
When whoever writes the story of the Alabama football dynasty under Nick Saban, and they get to that Zach Calzada beats them in College Station portion, no one's going to believe it. It's just how that happened.
Yeah.
He was pretty poor the entire season and then just got white hot against Alabama and beat him, but obviously didn't have enough mojo to outlast TJ Finley. Look, I think I'd be surprised if TJ Finley has a big season this year. I mean, look, I've certainly had my doubts about quarterbacks in the past that have gone on and done some really, really good things. Certainly, KJ Jefferson last year was a guy that I just did not think was going to be very good and had a great year. So it can certainly happen. Finley's got a strong arm. There's no doubt about that. We saw that on display that first start he had against South Carolina where he looked totally under control because LSU was able to run the ball and protect him, and he made some really nice throws. When the running game went away for LSU behind a suspect offensive line, he really, really struggled. Now, he shouldn't have even been out there because he was a true freshman and it wasn't even time to play. But, I mean, and he didn't have the proper preparation because COVID and all that kind of stuff. But now we're 3 years later, and here we are. I just don't know that I have very high expectations for Auburn based on this, quite frankly.
Look, man, I'm all for player development. I'm all for that. But to me, like certain quarterbacks are to me the easiest to kind of look at. Like when you watch Ian Book play quarterback for the Saints, did you think, oh man, I think this guy has potential? If Sean Payton kind of works with him a little bit, it's like you either have it most cases or you don't.
My son was 20 hours old, and he knew that was not very good for Ian Book.
Okay, exactly. So I think you can tell pretty on, even if you're not a quarterback whisperer, even if you're just an armchair quarterback fan and you're watching your team play, you can tell if someone can sling that rock around it and get the ball to his weapons. I just don't think either one of those guys at Auburn can do that consistently enough to win at a high enough level, especially what the expectations are at Auburn. If they're going into this saying, hey, we go 6-6, 7-5, we lose to Alabama, it's all okay, then yeah, I'd be like, you know what, TJ may be the great guy for that job. But looking at what Auburn's expecting of their football program year in and year out, I just think both those guys are going to have them falling a little bit short.
What a world we're living in, where Max Johnson transfers as the starting quarterback of LSU and is sitting on the bench briefly here for Texas A&M, and Zach Calzada leaves Texas A&M where he was the starting quarterback, and he will now not be the starting quarterback at Auburn. It's like you got starting quarterbacks that leave and go somewhere else, and they're not starting. That is the era that we live in here in the transfer portal. So just about every quarterback situation is settled in the Southeastern Conference publicly, except for the one right here in Baton Rouge. You missed our the open of the show. I talked about Brian Kelly said he's not going to announce a starting quarterback this year, and maybe it's making me question what I heard in that alumni association meeting, because I'm almost 100% certain I heard him say I don't think it's a tactical advantage. I think he actually used that term to hold in who your quarterback is and hide that. And then today he said the exact opposite. So maybe I just misheard and have been spreading false information for 6 weeks. Like, that could very well be the case. But I was shocked when he said that today.
Look, and you got to pay close attention, man. If you lose track a little bit, you'll get off a little bit.
The bar was open.
Yeah, exactly. So, look, next time you just pay a little more close attention, you'll be all right.
We shall see. All right, Black and Gold were on the field on Friday night for the last preseason game against the Chargers. All 63 Hesters were in attendance at the game, but we'll talk about what we saw in that one and where the Saints go from here as they trek towards the season opener and get that roster down to 53. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
FanDuel wants you to be ready for game day when college football kicks off this week. Right now, new customers can get up to $150 in free bets guaranteed for week one. Just place a $5 bet, and you can get $150 in free bets if you win or lose.
All the lines are up for college football this weekend. I'm looking at Penn State and Purdue on Thursday. Got a 3.5-point number there for the Nittany lines. So you kind of scroll through Utah and Florida. Florida catching 2.5 at home. You want to get on the train and bet some college football, do it on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You've been thinking about joining FanDuel? Now's the perfect time to give it a shot. It's easy to use. They're hooking you up with great odds, and when you get paid, when you win, you get paid very, very fast. Download the FanDuel app today. Sign up with the promo code 1045ESPN. Place a $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, guaranteed to kick off the college football season. That's promo code 1045ESPN. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager. Only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is a non-withdrawable free bet that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station. 100.7 The Tiger.
Monday evening edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're live at Rouge Creole in Perkins Row, recapping all of the college and NFL action from the weekend on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
In my opinion, one of the most remarkable streaks in all of sports will extend for another year as the Baltimore Ravens beat the Washington Commanders 17-15 over the weekend. And that means that the Baltimore Ravens have won 23 preseason games in a row. That is incredible to me. When you consider who is out there on the field, guys that get cut, starters don't play, who's the quarterback, to win 23 straight football games, it doesn't mean anything. It's just remarkable.
No, it definitely is remarkable. And I saw someone joking around on Bleacher Report saying after the game, like they show like the last 2 or 3 seconds, dropping off the clock, and they're like, when you just totally raked in every money line bet on the Ravens preseason. It was just like a total degenerate betting on NFL preseason. But if you're betting on the Ravens, it's probably not a bad team to jump on that bandwagon because for whatever reason, probably an anomaly, but they've totally dominated for God knows how long in the NFL preseason. I think the only thing I can really point to that would suggest why that's happening is they've done a phenomenal job drafting and signing undrafted free agents year in and year out, and those guys are just playing at a more consistent level in the preseason. But to be in NFL teams and be in NFL locker rooms and see just how especially the veteran players look at the preseason, it's extremely impressive what they've done.
It's nuts. I can't believe it. When I saw that they were on that streak, I learned about it this year. Maybe I'd forgotten about it, but man, it's just nuts. Speaking of nuts, Saints were really good on Friday. If you're a Saints fan and you watched any of that on Friday, I think there was really room to be very optimistic. Jameis did start, played his one drive, went 4 of 4, drove him right down the field for a touchdown. Looked good doing it, and then they handed the keys to Andy Dalton, and he didn't throw an incompletion either. He was 5 of 5 and led a touchdown drive as well. So the Saints win 27-10, and I thought really looked the part in their last dress rehearsal, in my opinion.
I think the real question is, where's Ian Book for? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm
just kidding. No. But no, I think if you're looking at the Saints, that's exactly what you want the offense to look like. And to me, seeing Jameis and Jarvis hooking up already, it seems like they have great rapport already. You saw him hooking up with him in some zone spots, and then to see Andy come in and to know that even if Jameis does kind of get nicked up at some point, you feel like Andy is the perfect bridge quarterback that, no, you don't want him to be the future of your franchise, but if he has to come in there for 4 or 5 games, you feel like the team's not going to have that huge drop-off with the quarterback situation. So I think, especially looking at the Saints store in the latter half of the season when you had a revolving door at that position, I think they feel great about what they have right now in Jameis and Andy and feel like those guys can give them a great chance to win the division.
Yeah, I think there's every reason to believe that. We've talked about the running back position all camp long and kind of what was going to happen there. And then when you got the news that Alvin Kamara they pushed his trial back, and you're thinking, man, this is something that may actually go into next year as opposed to this coming season. It tightened the numbers in the running back room real quick, and we saw that Abram Smith got an extended look on Friday. He got 13 carries, 35 yards, didn't do much, his long of 6, and he's now been cut. So it was one more chance for a guy that they brought in they thought might give him a little shot of life, and turns out they're good at the running back spot.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that, especially I think you mentioned the first preseason game. It's just like that room outside of Ingram and Kamara, it's not blowing many people away. And then you saw the Saints, front office feel the same way about that. And to have Kamara, I think, they feel good about it. They feel good about him and Ingram. I think you can get by a great part of the season with that. I would love to have a third back to mix in there a little bit. But I think with Ingram and Kamara, you're good to go.
Yeah, I think so too. It was nice to see Chris Olave had a 19 yards catch. Juice got out there, had a couple of catches as well. We did not see Michael Thomas, obviously, and you're gonna have to wait and see what he looks like when things really speed up in actual games. But I don't think there's any reason to think that he won't be anything but good to go. The biggest story coming out of the game was the injury to Trevor Penning. And I think it's easy with hindsight to say it's stupid to have him out there in that game. I see it totally differently. I think you have to have him out there, and it just is something that happened. He's not a starter at this point. He's a guy who you're trying to build into a starter, and these reps are important for him, especially coming from Northern Iowa. I just think that's an important thing to get him reps in a game situation against another team that has pros on it. Yes, you can get reps in practice. I just think these are valuable as well, and I would have had him out there for a ton, and unfortunately, he sustains a foot injury, and he's going to be out indefinitely, and that's going to set back his development specifically for this season. But I have no problem with him being in the game.
Yeah, I think you got to play the rookies. I don't think many rookies have garnered that type of respect where we want this guy nowhere near the action. Let's protect the signal. No, you got to get the reps. You got to get used to being an NFL player. And so it's just unfortunate. We know just how physical the game of football is. You know, injuries are going to happen. You just hope it's not something significant enough that gets a guy out for the season. So I think Hurst is on the way to being back. So I think for the Saints, getting him back as well is going to be huge. So you don't want to have 2 injured left tackles going to the season. That's just the worst, possible situation you could have yourself in. So to get Hurst back at least, I think is huge. But I think for me, I have no issues with Penn playing out there. You just want to see him back healthy as soon as possible.
And then the other storyline that I wanted to touch on, Will Lutz true on a pair of field goals, including a 47-yarder. He looks to be all systems go. We knew that when he buried that long one at Lambeau, but to have him come back into the dome, kick another one with some nice length to it, looks like he's ready to roll, and that's big. You're going to play so many close games, and the Saints saw it last year. If you don't have somebody back there that you trust to kick, you're just going to get burned. And I think Lutz has proven that he's back from that injury.
Yeah, no, it's huge. And I know how important special teams is with so many NFL games coming down to one possession. You got to have a kicker in there you feel good about. You got to have a guy where, you get that last possession, you feel like, hey, we get to the 36, hey, we get to the 37, we got points on the board. Not, who's the kicker this week? Like, do I even remember his name? So just night and day from where the Saints were last year. So to have Lutz back out there, I think that's a part of special teams you feel like you got secured.
I think I find myself – and we actually said this the first day we ever had this show. We said our Saints coverage is going to be a little different than anybody on this station because neither of us have emotional ties to the Saints. You didn't play for the Saints. Like, we just don't. We're going to be I can't go back in the history books like Matt and T-Bob, of course his dad played there, like Hanny can and like Jimmy can, and pull names and players and all that kind of stuff that happened years and years and years ago. But I think sometimes our emotions can alter our opinions, and we do our best to kind of keep them out of them when we're talking about our teams. But sometimes it does, and it's not going to happen with us on this show with the Saints because we just don't have that massive attachment to them. And so when I say this, I think it's coming from a different place than it would if Matt said it or Charles said it or if Jimmy said it or T-Bob said it. I'm bullish on the Saints right now. I think they've got a really good roster. I think that there's a chance that Jameis can play some really good football. I've been skeptical of him and still remain so now, just not – but this roster's good, and everybody's all about the Bucs, and I have been a little tepid on that. I could see the Saints making a push here. I think they're good.
Look, I've been trying to tell you, man. Like I told you months ago, I know you weren't high on Jameis, but I said, look, man, the way they're putting these free agents together, the way they're putting this talent at the receiver position, and I'm looking at how they've been playing the Bucs the past 2 years in the regular season. If you're a Saints fan, it's a year where you can feel real bullish. You can feel real happy about what you have going forward. Because to me, looking around the NFL, I could make a case right now. I think the Saints have the best secondary in all of football. And so you look at all their defensive backs, you look at their safeties, you look at just how they can mix and match you with different matchups. And to me, having a top 3, top 4 cornerback in all of football, the Saints are, they're primed to go. I think just getting a little more healthy, you want to shore up that left tackle position. But I think the Saints, especially with their defense and how their offense is going to be moving, it seems like not having Sean Payton, they're not going to miss that big of a beat. I think the Saints can win that division.
It's such a testament to the culture that they've created and the people in elevated positions over there, from Mickey Loomis and his whole staff and what they're able to do. This was a joke of a franchise for decades, and they just made the right hires. They got Mickey in, they brought Sean in, and they got lucky, and Breeze fell in their lap, and it created this thing. But we haven't started the season yet, so you can't say anything definitively. But if they go out there and win 10 or 11 games, that's a tribute to the organization, because Sean's not there anymore and Drew's not there anymore. And to have enough structural integrity and to have this foundation set up where those guys can move on and you still produce this type of product that we think that we're talking about here, that's just, they've become one of the better organizations in the sport. And that would have been impossible for anybody to believe in 2006.
Look, everyone looks at me crazy and they tell me, like, how are you not a Saints fan? You're like 45 minutes away. I'm like, dude, when I grew up, they were brown paper bags on everyone's head when I watched Saints games. Just not much going on there. So it took my talents to Saturday and watching the LSU football play. So I think for the Saints to come from that to me, I think I looked at the stats like 3 or 4 years ago. You look at their wins in like the past 5 or 6 seasons, they're right there at the top of the NFL. So to say that they're going to still be at that level, losing a NFL Super Bowl winning coach like Sean Payton, I think you got to point to Mickey Loomis in the front office and what everyone's doing up there. And we did it last week. I went through their schedule, picked their wins and losses. I had them at 11 wins, so I'm going to stick with that. I think this team can possibly win 11 or 12 games this year, and if they do that, they're in a great spot to make a deep playoff run.
Schedule sucks outside of your two shots with the Falcons and the Panthers. I love the fact that they open with the Falcons. It's very similar to Florida State opening with Duquesne. It's kind of what the Saints get with the Falcons. I thought I'd make you laugh there. It's a good team to start with here in a couple of weeks, and I think. Look, I watched 3 quarters of the game on Friday, and I loved the way Jameis looked coming out. I loved the defense and what you saw there. I just think it's a really, really good team. The last talking point here, and we don't have the video, but if you saw it, it's got to be burned into your brain. Demario Davis giving just a great talk to the team, and he's such a great leader, and he's fired up. And Jameis is making these unintentionally hysterical comments every time Demario Davis pauses. And it just goes back to it's hard for me to get over just how goofy he is when he's eating W's. And at Florida State, we gonna do it big. And if I'm strong, you strong, we strong. Like, he tries to be this leader, and it just comes out like goofy. And like Breeze was a little hokey with it. Like Demario Davis was like giving a fired up speech, like it was hidden. And Jameis just napalmed it with this ridiculous comments. Already done. Got it. Yeah. And it's like, Jameis, stop. It's like he just is so goofy.
Look, if you're looking for a conventional quarterback that's going to do things by the book, Jameis is probably the absolute last guy you're going to find. He's going to have some quirky speech. I saw him giving a motivational speak after a summer workout where you're just pitching and catching with receivers. It's like, dude, like, what are we doing here? Like, we're going Ray Lewis in the summer at 2:30 in the afternoon. Like, it's a little much, but, to me, Jameis is one of those guys. Either you really, really love him or you really, really just dislike him, and there's really no in between with that. But I think for the Saints, they're probably happy they have him as quarterback because they feel like he can give them a chance to win football games.
Take a timeout. Come back. Half an hour left with us here. It's Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
On Tuesday, off the bench. One day closer to game day. We'll talk a little LSU FSU with the Florida State man himself, Bud Elliott, plus brand new OTB mailbag. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, take me inside the mind of the LSU team right now. It's the it's game week. Now, you're off by a day, but like, it's got to be. This is the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, it's so hot in early August, and you're excited to get out there, and then 2-3 weeks in, you're kind of like, all right, I'm sick of dealing with this guy. I mean, you probably had some fights by now because guys are sick of dealing with each other. And now everyone kind of turns the page. We're all one, and we're moving forward to an opponent finally.
Yeah, no, it's as a player, this is the most excited you'll ever be during the season because you know all the work you put in, and I think a lot of fans, you kind of see some bits and pieces of it, but it's a year-round grind. So you're going from January, February, March. You got spring football, long grueling summer, then we got camp, and it's like, man, what are we doing all this for? And then it all hits you all in that one time, and that, oh, we're doing this to go do something special and have a special season, and it starts this week. And so kind of everything the coaches have been talking about, everything your teammates have been talking about, everything the fans and the student, everything is coming together. You can kind of feel the buzz on campus. Everyone's excited. So I think as a player, there's no more exciting time than that first game week because you kind of get to, knock all those cobwebs off and get that kind of get the party started, really.
How are the players feeling physically? We hear about, when you get in an NFL season, even in a college season, you get towards, early November, everybody's pretty beat up. Now, you've gone through camp, and this wasn't a Les Miles camp. It's a little bit less. But, I mean, are the guys feeling healthy at this point? I mean, or you're already beat up?
No, I think, a lot of guys, and I think that's why you see Coach Kelly kind of going the route that he is, and it's that, you don't want to just beat your guys into the pulp. I think who was that? Was that Scott Frost? I think it was. He was like, his guys are throwing up or something.
Yeah, Scott Frost.
Yeah, how did that work out?
15 vomits a day.
Yeah, how did that work out for him in week 1?
That's just a made up. It's just not. That didn't happen.
Yeah, someone like keeping track, like, okay, that's 2. Okay, and I got 3 guys. Well, no, I think running guys into the ground, we see that doesn't correlate to you winning football games. And so to see Coach Kelly kind of pulling the reins back a little bit, get these guys healthy going into the season, I think it's super important because, when you go through a full fall training camp, you're going to be banged up. You're going to have nicks and knacks. And the last thing you want to do is go to the season dealing with that because it's never going to go away once you start playing real football.
I can't get over the vomit thing. I mean, it's like 15 vomits a day. It's just, it looks like Harold lost his lunch there. It's like, wait, did he not throw up 15 times at practice? Just absolutely ridiculous. I'm excited. Starting tomorrow, we'll kind of dive into LSU and Florida State and matchups and everything, and we'll do that as the week progresses. But I was kind of thinking this weekend and collected my thoughts and kind of thinking, okay, how do I want to approach this, and how do I feel about what I've seen, what I've read, what I think, and I was going from an LSU perspective. I really think LSU is going to be prepared to play this game. Mm-hmm. I think a lot was made of what LSU looked like in the opener last year. They couldn't get the play in on time. It was just they were dealing with right up against the play clock constantly. The communication was terrible. They got pushed around. They just got their butts kicked, and it was ugly. I really don't think that's going to happen this time. I think LSU is going to be prepared and will execute well and won't look like a team that hasn't played. Am I 100% sure they're going to win? I'm not. But I do think I'm confident in this group of coaches more so than I was entering last year. I mean, Pete's had not done it before. His first time as an offensive coordinator. Then Durante hadn't called plays in a long time, and there was just an uneasiness to me about that whole deal. And I think they both had some days where they really got it going. I mean, obviously the offense was awesome against Florida. They did a good job against Alabama. You won the game late against Texas A&M, and then the defense the last half of the year had its days. So it's not to say that it was a total disaster at all fronts last year. Like, they had some days where they were good and some days where they weren't. They were not against UCLA. I just don't feel that way. Mike Denbrock has been doing this for. They just have more skins on the wall than LSU had going into last year. I'm feeling like they're going to come out and play well on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I noticed from this coaching staff and last coaching staff. And to me, going into the last preseason, of course, I picked LSU to win 9 games. I picked, them to have a great year and all that stuff. And that's looking at the glass half full. But if you're a person that looked at that very coaching staff and looked at it half empty, you do exactly what you just said, and that you had a guy who hadn't called plays at the Division Power 5 level on the defensive side in a very, very long time. And then you got an offensive coordinator who didn't even call the plays on third down. And so it's just a different dynamic right now. I think, Denbrock, he's foolproof, man. You know what that guy's going to do year in and out. You've seen what he just did with that Cincinnati offense and that program. And so I think we all know what Coach Kelly's going to bring. And I love Matt House. I think you can expect a defense that's not going to run cover one man every single play for an entire game. And so to see them be have a lot more variety, do a lot more things, I think that alone just is going to be a lot better than what you saw last year.
Some things stick with you. And when O got to the press conference and said that Lane told him they were running the same thing every time, that stuck with me. When you found out that they were having somebody else deal with their downs, that stuck with you. It's just some things that you hear and it just burns into your brain. And that's what happened when we heard those things happen last year. I don't know that anything I saw on Saturday changes my thoughts on Florida State. I don't know that anything Brian Kelly said today significantly changes the way I feel about LSU. If you missed the open of the show, missed Brian Kelly's press conference, he laid out the offensive line. He did not name a starting quarterback and will not do that. He updated Malik Neighbors' status, said he should be okay to go in the game. But it wasn't an earth-shattering first press conference, and again, it wasn't an earth-shattering game for Florida State against Duquesne. It's a lot of unknowns and a couple of programs that are really trying to elevate themselves, and it's going to set the stage for a pretty special night on Sunday.
Yeah, I think everyone was kind of going into that presser waiting on that bombshell. Is it JD5? Is it Nuss? Like, who's our guy? Who do we need to get behind? Do we need to jump on the Nuss bus? Like, what's going on right now? But I think we're going to hold off on that info. But I think everything other than that, I think, you don't want, I think we've had coaches get up to those pressers and they give you an entertainment show. It's like you could go to a concert or you can watch an LSU head coach press conference. And so we've seen that. And to me, it doesn't really help you win football games on a high level. So to see a guy just go up there, handle business, and go about his day, I think I'm good with that on my side.
Host Mark Ramsey brings you bite-sized Hollywood history inside the new Drop Biscuit Studio podcast, You Talking to Me. You can listen, download, or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com. First day with our new schedule here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you missed it earlier, Anytime debuted today. He will be noon to 1 every day, except on Mondays when Brian Kelly has his press conference. Haney will come on at 11. He'll get you to about 11:40. Brian Kelly will take it for another about 50 minutes after that, and then Haney will come right up against us at 1 o'clock. Matt's still there on After Further Review from 3 to 6. Morning show guys still 7 to 10. Jimmy Ott's Game Time still 6 to 8, but a little midday mix-up with Haney from noon to 1 and us from 1 to 3. So we'll come back, close out our first 1 to 3 edition of Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm on BayouFord.com right now looking through the used cars, and they've got some great deals, but they've got Range Rover Navigator, they got the GMC Sierra, they've got Ford F-350s, they've got the GMC Sierra 2500. They've got a ton of options there, and right there you can look at a video of every car. They've got the price listed, they've got the Carfax right there, and you can shop online. It's a digital world of car shopping. No longer do you have to walk the lot and it's 100 degrees with the salesperson, get into 5 cars, drive 2 of them around. No, you can check out what they've got right there online at BayouFord.com. Look at the pricing, look at what they've got, and if it's what you want, and if it's not what you want, call them, tell them to customize a car. They can have it turned around in 60 to 90 days.
Yeah, head over to BayouFord.com. They have the all-new 2022 Ford Expedition Timberline with a Ready Lift 3 kit on there. Also, all-new 2021 Ford F-150s. They're getting $14,000 off MSRP, including the Black Widow edition.
Every new purchase of a Bayou Ford vehicle comes with a 1,000,000-mile powertrain warranty. For the life of that vehicle, you will be under that powertrain warranty. Bayou Ford, check out the inventory at BayouFord.com. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
This week on DropBiscuit.com or wherever you listen to podcasts is our new series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story. Pops is brought to you by New Orleans & Company. Check out NewOrleans.com and come visit New Orleans. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt and Hill, The Early Line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. It is game week. Everything Brian Kelly has to say, previewing Florida State, and we'll recap Saints Chargers. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
As always, appreciate y'all hanging out in the Bayou Ford chat on YouTube. Throw us a like if you would. We appreciate it. New time, but still same crew in there. We appreciate y'all hanging out each and every day here on Hunt and Hill. Every single day, we close out the show with a little bit of Take It or Leave It. So, Mr. Hill, fire away.
All righty, here, let's do it. All right, NFL players, they voted on the top 100 players, and with the number one spot, the players voted for Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Are you taking or leaving? A 45-year-old player is the best player in all of pro football.
I'm going to leave it. I don't think he's the best player in the NFL. I just don't think he is. I mean, I think there's guys that are better than him. There are probably quarterbacks that are better than him. I know he led the NFL in passing yards, but, like, you know, I would look at some other guys, potentially. What about you?
I mean, I can't be mad at it, man. I think, you know, anytime they're voting on a guy, he's going to definitely get that praise because we've seen him just do it year after year. And so many people think he got robbed of MVP last year. So I'm sure some players feel that way as well. I'm not mad at it. To me, like, if you want to throw Aaron Donald out there, if you want to throw some other players out there, I wouldn't be mad at that. But to me, Tom, if he gets the vote, you got to put him at number one.
Did you see his press conference yesterday?
He looked tired, man. He looked real. I haven't seen him.
He's got too much work done. He's looking a little weird.
Yeah, he looked tired, man. And I know he said he had a lot of SH, going on right now, but yeah, I still can't count that guy out, man. He's gonna literally have to have 10 weeks of just poor play, which I just don't see. I think he can play at enough high enough level.
The fact that me sitting here 40 pounds overweight with a goofy haircut, like saying that Tom Brady's looking a little bit weird, like, I understand. But I mean, look, he just his jawline's all goofy now. Like, I don't. It looks like it's hard to open his mouth. It's just not a.
He looks working. Like in this video right here, he looks like, I don't know if you've watched fighters cut weight before, but it looks like he's like cutting weight for a fight, and he has a fight in like 24 hours, and he has to just drop 20 pounds. But yeah, I'm still not counting him out. I still
he just needs to eat a cheeseburger. I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Former Heisman Trophy winner Matt Leinart says this USC program is very similar to when Pete Carroll took over in the early 2000s. Said USC is a sleeping giant. Lincoln Riley going to wake up that sleeping giant. Take it or leave it.
I guess I have to take it. I mean, it's the Pac-12. I mean, no pulse at all. And so he has Caleb Williams, has receivers out the wazoo. I think they'll be able to win games this year, and then it's going to get hyped up out of this world. If they win 8 games, they'll probably be ranked number 9 or something. So I just know how the nation feels about USC. But I'll say it, man, just because I don't feel any threat that's in the Pac-12 right now.
I think there's a better chance than not that he really gets it cooking over there at USC. When USC asserts itself, it becomes such an easy place to recruit to. If you've got players that want to stay out west, there's not even a second option. Like it just is what it is. I mean, you don't really have to deal with Oregon that much. I mean, Utah's not recruiting the same type player you are. Like you control everything. Yeah. Now I know Alabama's still going to go over there, and they're going to go national, and that's part of the whole deal. I know that you're going to lose some California kids that want to go to Ohio State or whatever, but it just it's a path of less resistance.
Yeah.
And I think that he's going to get it figured out, especially when you can say how many times you've got a quarterback who won the Heisman Trophy. I mean, you can get a good quarterback in there pretty quick, and he's got a chance to get another one with Caleb Williams. So I think there's a pretty good chance that the Lincoln Rally gets it rolling. Do I think it's in year one? I probably don't. I like Utah, like just about everybody does, but I think there's a pretty good chance of that.
Alrighty, here, BaseballAmerica.com. They ranked the best 100 players for the 2023 college baseball season that entered the transfer portal, with LSU getting 3 out of the top 5 players in the country. Are you taking or leaving? Our boy Jay Johnson did the best job in the country in using the transfer portal.
I will take that all day long. Look, you got the National Freshman of the Year, who just set the National Freshman home run record. That's pretty good. You went to USC and got UCLA and got their most talented pitcher. You went to Vanderbilt and got maybe their most draftable pitcher. You went and got some help in the middle infield as well. You're loaded. I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches. I can't really sit still thinking about how good this baseball team, how much fun this baseball team could be coming up in February. But we got a long way to go before we get to all that. We got to play some football here, but there's no question. And like I've said time and time again, and I won't recant. Like it's just. LSU is going to be a massive beneficiary of these rules if they are going to stay like this, because you're going to have players that do great things somewhere else, and there just aren't that many places you can go where they care about college baseball. You got a lot of options that care about college football. You've got more options that care about college basketball. You can transfer to a lot of places. If you're a really good college player and you want to go a place where they care, there just aren't that many options, and LSU happens to be option 1. And we've seen it now for 2 years now. The fix was in with Barry because he was playing with Jay Johnson previously. But to get the National Freshman of the Year to show up 2 years in a row is not a coincidence. Like and I'm not saying that it's going to happen every single year. I'm just telling you that they're going to continue to get big-time players out of the transfer portal when you can allow guys to transfer and play.
Yeah, no, I think to me it's phenomenal what Jay Johnson's doing. And I know a lot of people were barking some other names when we were hiring the baseball coach, but he's done a great job. And I know some people were still unhappy with what he was dealing with last year, but looking at what he had to deal with the pitching and everything, and not being his full roster of players, I think Jay's shaping up something very, very beautiful for LSU baseball fans, and I'm excited, man. Look, you got me rolling with this LSU baseball, man.
Exactly
we're gonna be Hunt Hill baseball for a long time, so you guys just got to deal with it a little bit here.
I just always smile when I look down at Take It or Leave It, and I realize I get to ask you about the Lakers. You got your jersey on today. Mark Stein wrote an article on Russell Westbrook after rumors of him being benched after Pat Beverly in the trade talks with the Lakers. Darwin Heron has every intention of finding a role for Russell Westbrook, or if a trade partner is not found. A big mistake for the Lakers not to bench Russell Westbrook. Take it or leave it.
I'll take that. I think it's huge. I think you saw what Houston did last year with John Wall. You seen players and teams kind of play. I saw Andre Drummond just do that. He was on the Pistons. They sat him down. We need to sit Russ down, man. Like what are we doing?
That is not going to happen.
It's.
If you think Darvin Ham is going to go tell Russell Westbrook to grab some bench, I got news for you. That is not going to happen.
I mean, look, it could be around Thanksgiving. Maybe Russell's Ham Thanksgiving. Maybe he has a little sympathy. No, I don't think it's going to work. Look, I think it's so many personalities, so many things that's just got to go wrong for my Lakers. It's sad, man. It's sad. I thought, getting LeBron and AD, we'd be set up for, a nice 4 or 5 year run of just, deep playoff runs, conference finals appearances. It's not going to happen. We're going to be bad.
My young Cubs pitchers are starting to pitch the ball pretty well. They're winning some games. Nico Horner looks good. Seiya Suzuki's gotten some hits. There's a little bit of positivity around the Chicago Cubs. Now I just got to go spend some money. How much positivity in Lakerland?
Not much at all. Look, people, the talking heads are high on us. Look, the fans, we're going to be delusional. We still think we can win a championship every year, no matter what. We're Lakers, purple and gold. It's just what happens. But I'm looking at the team. I told you last year, you're like, man, they got Westbrook. I'm like, dude, we're going to suck.
It looked like a created team on NBA 2K. How are they going to be terrible?
Look,
they were bad.
Look, LeBron started something probably 12 years ago when he joined the Heat, and we've seen players after player try to create these super teams, and I've seen it time and time again fail. It's just, to me, this is a group of players that just don't mesh and fit well together, and you're adding Pat Bev to that group.
Pat Bev.
Oh, man, it's going to be bad for my Lakers. It's got to be bad.
I want to remind you, professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. That's FORE, for the people. You can download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com. John and JJ are funny guys. They do a great job. I vehemently disagree with Mr. Peterson about live golf, but you want to hear his thoughts on it, you can probably check him out there at For the People, which is at dropbiscuit.com. All right, that'll just about do it for us here on a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill. If you missed any of the show, you can catch it on demand at 1045ESPN.com at the On Demand tab, Hunt and Hill. You can catch it on YouTube. We got a bunch of people hanging out in the Bayou Ford chat. It's uploaded there every single day. You can also catch it on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. You can find Hunt and Hill. Just search it with that ampersand right there in the middle of Hunt and Hill, and you'll find it. Just rate, review, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'd appreciate it. We cranked up hour number 1 with the Brian Kelly press conference reaction, talking about him not naming a quarterback, talking about Malik Neighbors, the offensive line, neutral site games, all that jazz we opened the show with. Had some takes on the Florida State Duquesne game. Had some takes on what we saw in Dublin, Ireland, and on game day over the weekend. All that is in hour number 1. Hour number 2, talked SEC quarterbacks, Haynes King and TJ Finley. All new time for us, 1 to 3 each and every day. Hanny will be before us from noon to 1, and Matt Moscona will drive you home on After Further Review from 3 to 6. He's coming up next. Jimmy Ott's Game Time from 6 to 8. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Monday. It's Hunt and Hill.